How much will 20,000 HBAR be worth during this bull run? Now, to answer that question, we actually have to take a look at a hypothetical scenario. And let's say we assume that HBAR were to go to the price of $3. Then, of course, at that point, 20,000 HBAR would be worth $60,000 because, of course, 20,000 times 3 is 60,000. But in case anyone is wondering, okay, is this like $20,000 worth of HBAR, like 20,000 units of HBAR, so to speak? Again, it's not, the valuation, it's like 20,000 HBAR in terms of the units. But yeah, even besides that point, do I think that $3 is realistic for HBAR during this bull run? Hypothetically, I think so, even though I'm not a financial advisor and even though this isn't a guarantee. Now, what is the reason behind that? It's because when you take a look at, first of all, when it comes to Hedera, I believe that its backing is A+, in a sense that its governing council is really almost like none other, in my opinion. I mean, for instance, right, its governing council includes the likes of Google. That's massive, right? We all know that. Of course, we're using YouTube. Shout out to Google, by the way. But even besides that point, we take a look at IBM. We take a look at, for instance, Dell Technologies, Ubisoft, LG, and many others. I mean, this is how impressive its governing council is. I think sometimes people don't understand that because they're like, oh yeah, it's all a gimmick, all this type of stuff. But it's not true. I think Hedera is actually that fantastic. And it is, again, right? Its governing council is really one of the best, in my opinion, arguably, if not the best. Not to mention, if you take a look at Hedera as well, it does have several unique advantages over other projects out there. Because, for instance, a lot of other projects out there, they use like traditional blockchain technology. And even though there's nothing wrong with that, like for instance, we see many layer 1 blockchains do absolutely fantastic, like Solana, Avalanche, of course, the list goes on and on and on. We also take a look at Ethereum. That's very famous. Now, we take a look at what is so special about Hedera Hashgraph. The amazing thing about it is that it actually doesn't utilize blockchain. Instead, it uses something called a DAG, which stands for Directed Acyclic Graph. Now, the benefit of this, it typically has improved data storage. Scalability is usually a lot better. Also, on top of that, typically consumes a lot less energy as well. So, when you take a look at it, again, it does have several advantages over, traditional blockchain technology. So when you take a look at this, there's going to be more developers that's going to come up in the future, right? And of course, they don't mind, I think, in some cases using many amazing layer 1 blockchains, but I think dabbling with something like Hedera, why not? It's amazing as well. And here's the thing. If you take a look at Hedera, per transaction on average, it does consume less energy, again, on average, per transaction, less than something like Cardano, the BNB chain. You take a look at Ethereum, of course, and many others. This is how impressive it is. And also, its native services can reliably scale up to 10,000 transactions and even beyond, of course, making it very scalable. So when you take a look at Hedera, it's not bad by any means. Not to mention, right, you take a look at how it has use cases for like DeFi, NFTs, which some people may think is kind of caca, but I think the hype is going to come back in again eventually, of course. I'm not saying like tomorrow or next week or whatever, because even if you take a look at Grand View Research, according to them, both the DeFi and NFT market, of course, DeFi stands for decentralized finance. But yeah, besides that point, their market size by 2030 is combined, right? Again, both DeFi and NFT, over $400 billion. So that's kind of insane. 2030, it's like just 5 years away at this point. We're so close to 2025. It's kind of insane to think about. But even besides that point, Hedera, they also have use cases, for instance, like payments. You take a look at decentralized logs and decentralized identity. And even also on top of that, you take a look at how it has like solutions for stable coins. And I think there's more that's going to pop up in the future. It's only logical, right? As of right now, the big dogs are like USDC, USDT, but I think better days are ahead. So when it comes to this, right, I think this, if anything, showcases the forward-thinking mindset of Hedera. Crypto adoption as it increases, as blockchain technology continues its presence, so to speak, right? As more and more people adopt it, I think it's only fair to assume that, of course, there's going to be more stable coins, and Hedera having solutions for that as of right now shows how they're thinking about the future. They're not thinking about the past, all this type of stuff. They care about, again, what could they be in the future, not what they are, in the past, if that makes sense. They're not a meme coin. They don't focus on gaining hype, attention. That's not the case, right? Even though when it comes to HBAR, the price isn't doing the best as of right now, I don't mind, because I think that around 6 months from right now, a year from right now, things could be very different. Oftentimes people like to focus, what's happening every 2 minutes, 3 minutes, all this type of stuff. A way for me to ignore that is just simply to not look at my portfolio every single 10 minutes or every day or every week. Why would I do that? It makes no sense, because I personally know myself, right? Because sometimes we can't help just having these human emotions, right? When we see red, we sometimes don't like it when it comes to portfolios. So we're like, oh man, all this type of stuff. So again, a way to ignore that for me is just continuously accumulate more and more HBAR anytime our income, dollar cost averaging, but then not hyper focus on what happens to my portfolio. I just quite essentially acquire it, kind of forget about it in a sense. I'm not forgetting about it, of course, but I think you get the metaphor there, right? And just thinking more so about the long term. And that way I don't get caught up in the actions, or should I say price movements, like every 2 minutes, like 2 hours. Like who cares about that? Because in the short term, things could be very volatile. Like you think Bitcoin had a smooth journey all the way to the top? No, I mean, there's many ups and downs along the way, but if we get caught up in that, that could be a disaster. You know what I mean? So of course, there needs to be a way to kind of ignore that. And that's why, I just simply don't look at my portfolio every like 10 minutes or like every day, if that makes sense. Not to mention, when it comes to Hedera, the unique thing about it is that it's a project that doesn't disappear when the fans are gone, because it actually has an amazing use case. Also, the governing council is fantastic. I don't think something as amazing as like that, the governing council is going to allow like a project like this to fail. You know what I mean? It would just be kind of a bad look. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to guarantee the success of Hedera. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, of course, something this massive, something this amazing, I have a difficult time seeing it fail, if that makes sense. Also, on top of that, sometimes people like to assume that, the low price of HBAR means that it's bad, all this type of stuff. No. When it comes to price movements, when it comes to HBAR, it's largely sometimes determined by sentiment, also buying pressure, buying volume. It doesn't mean that it's an accurate, translation of as to how well Hedera is doing. No, that's not the case. Also, on top of that, you take a look at, for instance, right, when it comes to the crypto sentiment, as of right now, the greed and fear index, it's sitting at around neutral. So I think people are 50-50 currently. They're either bullish, they're either not. But personally, for me, I'm fully bullish. But even besides that point, people, they're waiting for a confirmation, so to speak. This kind of reminds me of like the end of 2020, when a lot of people were like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, if that makes sense, right? They were kind of wondering, could things do great? We're seeing signs of it, but okay, what does the future really hold? I think they're somewhat 50-50 as of right now. But in my opinion, I do believe that around 6 months from right now, a year from right now, once we see that good confirmation, man, things could be very different. But for me, I don't want to wait till HBAR goes to the price of like 20 cents or like 40 cents for me to get in. Nah, I don't want to do that. For me, I want to do it right now. So if let's say things do go well, I'm not going to be FOMOing later on. And could you imagine like all the hypothetical gains lost along the way? If let's say it does go to the price of like 40 cents and 50 cents, and then I wait until then for me to accumulate. That's just a complete no bueno for me. That's why I want to get in right now, because again, I don't want to wait until then, because when I believe in something, I just fully believe in it. And why would this bull run be bad? There's over 600 million crypto owners, according to Crypto.com research, more than ever before in history. You take a look at the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF, the amount of institutional investors, the amount of enterprise adoption. I mean, this is like a melting pot right here. This is like a stew that could very well be something so amazing, aka this bull run. But it's just a matter of time. I'm not guaranteeing that things are going to be amazing. I'm not saying that, but only time will tell. And the way I view it is that I'm going to wait anyways, right? Of course. So might as well just wait on HBAR. You know what I mean? And going to the price of $3, market cap is around $113 billion. We've seen BNB reach over $100 billion of market cap. I mean, come on, right? This isn't some sort of ridiculous price target. We've also seen Ethereum reach over $550 billion of market cap. This isn't crazy. At least that's the way to take a look at it. So when it comes to HBAR, I do believe that better days are ahead. And at the price of $3 during this bull run, that right there wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And feel free to become a channel member if you want to get a prioritized response from me in the comments. And also you can use these like cool badges or stickers. So yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. Also on top of that, make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain. I'll catch you all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.